puzzle are getting bits of information all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what I can tell you is that the world is not run by the presidents of the countries.
No.
Okay? So if you think that Barack Obama is in charge of the United States, you got to wake up and smell the coffee.
Absolutely right.
And if you think that anybody else is in charge, any president or prime minister is in charge of the country, they are just the puppets that have been put in place to execute the will of the people that are actually in charge.
That's
now,
right.
who those people or beings are that are in charge, well, that is a very, very difficult question to answer because they don't want us to know. And they are spreading seeds of information and disinformation and causing confusion. And so it goes. What we can tell the people out there is that these are not human beings, and that there is probably a cross-pollination of extraterrestrials that are controlling this planet with some humans that are doing much of the organizing and the running around and executing their wishes and so forth. We're probably looking at a different number of extraterrestrials that, from the Anunnaki, the Anunnaki remnants to reptilians to some greys that are either naturally evolved greys or cloned greys. And this is all the information that's coming out. If there's anyone out there that believes they have the absolute truth and absolute breakdown of this, I think we're a long way from finding this out at this stage.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The lid has been kept on very tight, and all we can do is speculate. However, it's going to get more and more difficult for the lid to stay on as the economy collapses and people stop having a reason to get paid to keep quiet. And as the whistleblowers start coming out, we might see more revelations about the truth of what's going on, including, ironically, we're having this show on 911, which is the anniversary of the falling of the Twin Towers and the third tower that was taken down by demolition, supposedly.
Yeah. Well, you know what we just discovered recently is, and this comes back to the discoveries we're making in South Africa, is these ancient civilizations that were set up in South Africa, Southern Africa, to mine gold. They worked very, very harmoniously for probably about 270,000 years until they got wiped out by the flood. Then they restarted civilization all over the world in great earnest, looking for more gold, and then you suddenly see civilization spring up all over the world, which seems to be more prominent after the flood. But what has happened here is that during this process of controlling the people for such a long period of time, the genetic memory of that kind of lifestyle is deeply encoded in our DNA. And I call it a contributionist society. Those people lived without money, without the concept of money, without the concept of barter or trade, without the concept of value attached to anything. They just all lived and supported whatever they needed to do to get the job done of mining gold, and then at a later stage other minerals as well. And this is a very interesting model to look at, because I believe, first of all, the people out there that believe that money is a consequence of evolution are completely misguided and have been fooled.
Right.
Money has got nothing to do with that. Money was very maliciously and consciously introduced to the human race, introduced as a tool to the kings, who, and incidentally, kingdom was lowered down from heaven to earth, and kings were chosen by the gods to rule the people. And then they were introduced with a thing called money, through which they controlled their subjects to pay taxes and work the lands that suddenly belonged to the kings. Okay, and then suddenly we see, hold on, who decided to make you king, buddy? And we got the same situation, exactly.
Right.
Who decided in South Africa, for example, the mineral rights belong to a very few companies. One of the wealthiest countries in the world in platinum, gold, and all the minerals you can think of, and those mineral rights belong to a very few people. Well, who decided that? When did that decision get made? And when did the people agree to that?
Yes.
So
very interesting questions.
Well, exactly. And, when the governments and the politicians are appointed by the people to do the best they can for the benefit of the people that they are serving. Well, that is not the case.
No, it is not.
So what has happened very clearly is that the politicians have stolen the country from their people. It is in the United States, and it is even more grossly visible in South Africa and other African countries. And people must wake up and realize that the politicians have stolen the countries from their people. They've stolen their rights. They enslave them through games with capitalism, through rise and fall of markets that are synthetically created.
Mm-hmm.
And people aren't aware of this. They think that this is all natural process of stuff happening. It is not happening naturally. It's being manipulated, and we've got to wake up and smell the coffee.
Absolutely. And the most frightening thing is that people aren't waking up fast enough.
Well, you know what? I don't know about that. I think, maybe they're not waking up fast enough, but it is certainly happening exponentially. This is my personal experience. And look, I'm on the tour of the United States now, a 26-stop tour. We're in Austin tomorrow after morning between 11 and 2. I'm talking in Austin, then I'm coming your way to California. And I'm finding that there's an incredible response from people that are just desperately looking for new answers and new solutions on all levels, on spiritual levels, on the physical and economical levels, and are just tired of the lies that they've been sold.
Absolutely. Well, we've been handed a line of bull and enslaved all our lives. I mean, when you realize, I just realized, a few years ago that I was born into slavery, and that I've been basically living under indentured servitude all my life.
Absolutely.
So, it's not a pleasant realization to come to. And those people who are holding down 1 or 2 or 3 jobs, they're certainly not going to be very pleased to know this. But if everybody quit at the same time and stopped using money, that would completely destroy the ability of the controllers to manipulate anyone, because we would be taking back our power.
Well, money is a tool that they've created, synthetically created, to keep us enslaved. And they play games with these silly games that they play with the rise and fall of markets and manipulating it every which possible way they can. Yeah. And, people look at this and they study the markets, and people that study economics are really smart people, aren't they? And only a handful of people can really understand that stuff. It's all such a bunch of rubbish and lies that, people wake up.
Yeah,
stop believing that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what, Lance? This is what I find most exciting. And you said the waking up is not necessarily happening fast enough. I think that the discoveries we're making in South Africa and Southern Africa were the ancient civilizations. Not only the fact that there was this vast civilization of people that were there mining gold and other minerals, they vanished mysteriously. But what we're finding, the remains of the structure that they left behind, we're discovering that these structures, and that they had a knowledge of advanced technology, or an advanced knowledge of the use of technology. And that technology was the use of sound frequency and frequency as a source of energy. And this is becoming a very important key to us rediscovering this source of free energy. Now, I want the people that are listening to the show to pay very important attention to this, because this is really like a completion of some weird prophecy that we've had since the biblical times that talk about frequency and sound being the primordial word of God that created the universe, and the Aum being the primordial creative source. And then now we're discovering the ancient civilizations using sound frequency and other frequencies as a source of energy. Well, in the last 120 so odd years, we've had people like, Royal Raymond Rife and John Keely and Nikola Tesla, who gave us free energy, who cured all disease, who could levitate things with sound, who could crush rock and separate things with sound and disassociate water. This information has been rediscovered recently. The fact that we've measured these ancient stone structures in South Africa that are still alive and giving us incredible amounts of energy in the form of frequency is a very important discovery.
Wow.
And I believe that the moment you give people free energy, that is by far the largest break in the control of the human race is the free energy aspect of it.
Oh, absolutely. Many of my guests and quite a few whistleblowers have mentioned that privately held corporations in league with the military and black operations have back engineered free energy as long as